Hello, peeps. Again, coming to you with another edition of Two Pennies, My Little 2 Cents. And I'm your host, Nino. Don't forget to click that like button. I appreciate them subscriptions, but I need you to keep on blessing me and doing what you've been doing with them subscriptions. Thank you for my audience. I hope everybody's safe. And I'm going to get into what I'm finna get into. Duke versus Wake Forest a couple of nights ago. NCAA basketball. Number 2 Duke played his final home game of the season, hosting the Wake Forest Demon Deacons in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Duke is incredible this year. Honestly, I don't see how they don't win it all. I mean, they come in number 2. They come in with a record of 26-3, 17-1 in the ACC, and I can't believe they done lost that many games. Really, I don't. Really, I can't. Wake Forest Demon Deacons pulls up at Cameron Indoor with a record of 20-9, 12-6 in the ACC. Tip-off was 7 p.m. On the call was Dave O'Brien and Corey Alexander. Duke and Wake Forest peeps have an interesting historic lineage about themselves. They played the other night was a 263rd game. Duke leads the series 181-81. So see, this is a rivalry. Well, they play together. They play against each other a lot. I can't really say it's a heated rivalry, but they have played against each other a lot. So, you know, the series dates back 1905 to 1906. You see what I'm saying? Almost, well, literally 100 years. So these teams, whether good or bad, whether dominant or poor, whether no matter what the stakes are when they play each other, they know who each other are because they have seen each other a long time. The Blue Devils have a 25 consecutive game winning streak against the Demon Deacons. The last time Wake Forest beat Duke was 1996. From 1997 to currently the other night of 2025, Duke has won 25 consecutive games. Now, is that one-sided enough? Duke is the only team in the nation to be ranked in the top 4, both offensively and defensively. They're the only team to score 80 points plus, yet while holding their opponents to 60 to 61 points. Talking about, man, this team is dominant, serious. I mean, they are big, they are long. Their front line is like 6'9". The center is like 7 feet, but he has a 7'4" wingspan. The guards are like 6'4" and 6'7". Duke is almost a semi-G League team. And I know people going to clap back at me for saying that and going to say, well, you know, still they can't beat no G League team. I didn't mean to say a G League team, but I'm just saying they are big and they look like a pro or semi-pro or G League team when they're playing in the NCAA. Kneuffel, one of the sensational freshmen, and I'm going to get to the other one in a little bit. But Kneuffel is averaging 17 points per game, 54% from the field, and 52% from the trifecta. Duke ended that night game with a 1-game lead over number 11 Clemson and number 14 Louisville in the ACC. But I don't see how that's going to be a threat. I mean, hopefully, maybe somebody can get Duke in the ACC tournament. And even if you do out Duke in the ACC tournament, I believe they still going to get a number 1 seed. A win that night, and Duke takes outright the ACC tournament. Now, as the game tipped off and proceeded, Duke led 47-38 before going on an 18-3 tear. I mean, the interesting thing about the Blue Devils that I have noticed this year, and I have had one eye on them and one eye on other things I've been taking care of, but I'm talking about, man, they've been just blowing out teams, just mowing through them like a lawnmower. I'm talking about the game is literally over by halftime. They went on an 18-3 tear, like I said. That including a burst of 3-pointers. First by Zion James, followed by a pair by Mason Gillies that pushed Duke lead to 65-41. And their defense is this out of sight, man. I mean, John Scheyer, the coach of the Duke Blue Devils, has a heck of a team. And it's pretty good because with so many young kids coming out of high school that's going straight to the NBA, it was nice to see some talented high schoolers to go get some college experience, even if it's only a year. Duke pushed this lead to 65-41. Duke shot 54% after halftime, made 8 of 19 3-pointers, and Duke had 14 threes for the game. The Blue Devils won 93-60. There we go again. 33-point win, another blowout. The closest you be to Duke these days is the beginning of the game when it's 2-0, 0-0. After that, they separate from you like speed separates from being slow. Now, Mr. Cooper Flagg, the All-Universe, All-Galactica, All-ACC, All-American, and Freshman of the Year. But if I was a betting man and I had to put all my money down, Mr. Cooper Flagg would be college basketball player of the year. Had 28 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists in probably his last home game. Because just as I said, he's projected to be the number 1 draft in next year's 2025-2026 NBA lottery or NBA draft. And I'm talking about he's 6'9". He's about 235, 240 to 255, a 5'2". He can dribble. He got handles. He can handle that rock. He can pass. He can rebound. He can play defense in them passing lane and blocking shots. Because remember, he's 6'9". And he can also fill it up from the trifecta. Mr. Cooper Flag is sensational. The Blue Devils improved to 27-3 and 18-1 in the ACC, which, I mean, they just can't be stopped. Now, the interesting thing is Saturday in the finale. They had the finale at Cameron Indoor, but Saturday in the finale, again, it's the battle of Tobacco Road as they go to Chapel Hill and face the North Carolina Tar Heels. Duke, in the first meeting, just straight up, just manhandled North Carolina. But Coach Hubert Davis and them Tar Heels have got on a little winning streak. I think, if my memory serves me right, I checked my notes. I was watching the NCAA scoreboard, and the Carolina Tar Heels have won about 4 or 5 in a row. I think at least 4. So that's gonna make an interesting game Sunday. My bad. An interesting game Saturday. I'm sorry, people. At Chapel Hill. North Carolina is looking for revenge. Duke is looking to take the series, not holding no prisoners, and will have bragging rights in Carolina from 2 institutes that are separated from 8 to 12 miles apart. Remember, I told you the first installment when I did the podcast on them, or the first installment when I was holding a conversation about them. Duke players and North Carolina players, they are so close that they go usually or randomly to the same barber, get haircuts, the same malls, pick up drip or gear, and a lot of the hangouts, Duke players will see North Carolina players. Duke versus North Carolina, Saturday at Chapel Hill. This is Nino. Another edition of My 2 cents, my 2 pennies. Love.